everybody, and welcome to Ministry Mondays with Meg. I'm Meg. I'm Meg Biddle, Reverend Meg Biddle, and welcome to the show. So glad to have everybody with you, everybody with us today. If you've been here before, welcome back. If you've not, where have you been? Either whether you're new or, a regular, we are just so glad to have you join us today. And today, my guest is I keep saying this. One day I will get one. Like I need a drum roll and like confetti. So pretend that there's a drum roll and confetti. Beep. Is Reverend Brittany Mingo. Yay! I need sound effects. Wouldn't that be fun?
You're doing a great job doing the sound effects. You're
I
doing
mean, I'm gonna ask that my budget next year. Like they might tell me no though. And that would probably be the better answer. But so welcome, Reverend Brittany Mingo.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So glad to have you here. We were supposed to have you earlier, but was that snow? It was snow, wasn't it?
It was something. I think
it was. I want to say it was weather, and we had kids, or I don't know. Anyway,
yes, that's what it was. That's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what it was.
It was, yeah. Anyway, we got you now. So, for those who don't know you, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about who you are, what you do? We'll just go from there.
Okay. Again, my name is Reverend Brittany Mingo. I am an associate pastor under the leadership of Reverend Dr. Alan E. Waller at Enon Tabernacle Baptist Church. I give leadership to our elevation community, which is our youth and young adults community, ranging in the ages 4 to 40 years old. So I have the unique and, just amazing opportunity to serve and to lead. We have over 30 ministries in our youth and young adult community. And one of the most beautiful things I think just about me being able to serve in the role is that I grew up at the church. And so I have a unique opportunity to give back to a ministry who God used to help build and develop me as a young lady and as a Christian. And so that's one of my favorite things about being in the role, because a lot of kids are involved in ministries that I was involved with as I was a child. And then, of course, as things evolve, there are a lot of new ministries that were not there when I was a child, but there are ministries where me and my friends were like, oh, we asked for this ministry. So it's always good to see that the generations after us, were able to be provided with the ministries that we said, or, generations after us said that they wanted to see in the life of the church.
That's awesome. I mean, I think that's really rare anymore that you find somebody that grew up in the church and then gets to stay, not come back, but right, because you've been there the whole time.
Yeah, I've been there the whole time. I've had my seasons. Now, I was never on the trajectory of becoming a reverend. Now, that is something we all laugh about. I don't think if we lined us all up at like 13 and 14, they would have picked me out.
Me neither. That would have not been. Well, I didn't see that coming.
Right.
Yeah, right. Wow. So, I mean, they must be so incredibly proud of you, like, to go our own, and here she is.
Right. Homegrown, straight from Enon. Enon really shaped me, so it's like it's home. And I love being there, and still being there in that way, because I always feel like, it's a family affair, and it's home for me. So yeah.
So, like, talk about like some of those ministries that fall under, your portfolio, so to speak.
Okay. So we have a number of ministries, and what the elevation community primarily does is try to provide a safe space for children. And so if a family does not have the means or wants their kids to be involved in activities that are faith-based or still have a faith component, they can come to the Elevation community and get those experiences, all with the teaching of God and, just our standards as believers. So we have Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts. We have a drum line and a drill team. We have dancers. Yeah, they're really good. We have dancers. We have chess. We have chess. We have, I'm drawing a blank, but we have so many. We have Young Sisters in Christ, Young Righteous Warriors, which is the male component of Young Sisters in Christ. We have junior deacons. We just have, so we actually have a lot, and I'm like, I always hate saying it because then I forget somebody.
Yeah.
We have junior missionaries, which they do a phenomenal job with ministering to nursing homes and to different communities outside of the church. We have our youth greeters and ushers who serve as greeters during youth weekend. We have our pulpit ministry because every third Sunday, which is this Sunday coming up, every third Sunday, our youth fully lead worship. And
Do
so,
they?
yep, they fully lead worship.
Wow.
They're doing the invocation, praise and worship. They're singing on the choir. We have our 2 youth choirs. So the tabs, which are 4 to 12, and then Anointed Voices of Praise, which is 13 to 18. They sing. We have an announcement ministry where our kids kind of do like a news-like announcement for the church, just to give them all updates. And so we have a lot of opportunities for our kids. We also have teen fellowship, youth fellowship, and those are like Fridays. Just come on out. We might go out somewhere and do something, or we might be inside and do something. We have our youth council, which amplifies the voices of the youth in the church to make sure that we're not, dictating what they need and what we think they need, but they can share with us, hey, these are the things we like to see in the church. This is how we would like to be heard. We don't really like when you guys do that, and they don't have a problem telling us that, and it's okay. But it just kind of helps us make sure that we stay relevant, and that we meet the needs of their generation. And then on the young adult side, we have young adult fellowship, young adult missions and outreach, young adult discipleship. And young adults is has smaller ministries because we really want young adults to become involved in the life of church as adults, but we do want to provide some spaces for young adults just to be young adults and just, so our young adult fellowship, we'll do bowling and game night, karaoke, all of those fun things just to hang out with like-minded people who believe in the same God, who are striving to live lives that are pleasing to God. And then in young adult discipleship, we host things such as our young adult conference. We have Sunday school. We are implementing Wednesday night Bible study that starts in March in person. And so, and in our missions and evangelism, so we have a missions team that goes out and does work and, just tries to evangelize. We actually have an evangelism conference coming up on March 1st and 2nd to help teach youth and young adults how to go out and evangelize. And so those are a lot of the ministries that we have at the church. And I know I'm forgetting some, but not by,
I'll forgive you.
not by heart.
She didn't do it on purpose, so don't do that. You can't. Nothing but love. I mean, that's incredible. The intentionality with the generations,
Right.
like to go, no, you can't just tell the kids that they've got to go to Sunday school and be in, and you only get once a year.
Right.
That like that keeps you plugged in to go. The third is yours, and not just, the adults telling you this is how it's done.
Right.
And then you give them the opportunity to tell you, like, we don't like that. Like,
Yes.
I mean, yeah. I think more churches would still be around. somebody thriving
Right.
if they did have that
Kids, yeah.
intergenerational mentality. Um, and while I'm talking about intergenerational ministry, you are going to be a group leader, presenter
Yes.
at Space for Grace.
Yes. Yes.
Is
Yes.
this what you're going to talk about? Is like your
We
church?
are.
And
Yep,
okay,
we're going to talk
okay.
about intergenerational ministry and how important it is, and how to effectively cultivate a space in a church community where it can happen. Because that's really, I think that's God has blessed Enon to kind of have a sweet spot in that. Our pastor has always been what he calls unapologetically youth oriented. So that's what we say at Enon. We are unapologetically youth oriented. And so youth take precedence over everything, like how the children are impacted, how they grow and are evolved. But we also know the importance of history and elders and leaders. And so it's a two-way street of really catering to our children, but honoring the adults, and just partnering. And I know how important it is just growing up. I know, so my mother was saved at the age of 7. And when she got saved at the age of 7, my grandparents and her siblings were not. So she was in an unsaved
Mm.
household. And it was because she would go to church and come home and share and talk about what was going on at church. My grandmother and grandfather were like, "We got to go over to this church. What's going on at this church?" And she would share with them, Pastor Floyd said this. I'm sorry, I need him to be quiet. So I'm just going to invite Brew to the podcast.
Welcome. It's fine.
um, so she would, share with her family. And because of her faith and how she began to be closer to God, her parents, from another generation, ended up building a relationship. And so I find that the strongest ministries are ministries where all generations are present, because there is a liveliness and a passion that youth bring and young adults bring. There's a lot of wisdom and history and strategy that older generations bring. And so when we merge those two together, we're able to really serve God and really, build the kingdom in the way that he would have us. And so when we come to Space for Grace, it's going to be my mom and I, and we're going to share and use different examples of intergenerational relationships in the Bible and how we can use those to inform how we include all generations in ministry, at our churches and places of ministry.
Very cool. So is your mom also involved in the church?
Yes, my mom is involved in the church. She's been involved in the church for as long as we started. In fact, my mom has been on the leadership team of youth ministry, every leadership team, and she served as the director prior to me coming in as the associate pastor. And she helped train me and get me prepared to lead as the associate pastor.
How cool that you can share that with your mom.
Yes,
I
yeah, it's
mean,
really special. It's really special.
yeah, how many people get to do that kind of ministry with a parent? And
Right.
so I'm so glad that you're both able to be at Space for Grace and to share your stories.
Yeah, we're really excited. We're really excited to be at Space for Grace, and we're planning, and like we just hope everybody enjoys the session and gets things
Oh,
out
I'm
of it,
sure
gets
they
some gems out of it.
oh my gosh, I'm sure they will. So you're in Philly? Is that where
Yes.
you're?
Mhm.
Okay, okay. And it's Enon, right?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay. So somebody calls the church and like is like, why would I want to come to church here?
Right.
Like, how do you answer that question? Is it
So
yeah.
I would say in our first our slogan is Enon is a place where people encounter God, which is absolutely true. I think that what I love about the church is I truly believe there's a place for everybody. And It is a welcoming church. It is a church that, again, a big thing about honoring past, we are primarily an African American church. And so we really honor our history of the past, but we also know the future, right? And we look at the kingdom and what does the kingdom look like? And so we offer a safe space for everybody to come, for everybody to worship, for everybody to live out their call. I've had the experience of just allowing people to wrestle with their faith with no judgment, because we all fall short, and so I think it's just a place. It feels big because we have about 15,000 members, and so it can feel really big. However, with the ministries, people have their pockets where they can really feel close to one another and feel connected. It's just a what God has been able to do in the church is remarkable. At no, with no credit to ourselves. But I do think it is a place where people encounter God. It just is an experience. I still remember the first day I walked in at Enon as a kid. And we just wrap our arms around people, and we're really a loving church at the core. We want to make sure that we not only minister to people, but we want to make sure that we take care of people and meet their needs. And so not just spiritual, but if there's something that comes up in the church, for any of our members, we want to help. But that extends out, even if you're not a member. We want to help our community. We want to help those around us. We're always interested in partnering with organizations. And so at the core of it, it's not even just a for us, by us thing. We're very kingdom minded, and we really want to help people see Jesus ultimately. And so I would say that that's why Enon would be a great place, because we love people as Jesus would have us to love them. And we just want to point people to Christ and provide a safe space for people to grow closer to him.
That is a great, what is your why? I mean, yeah, that's fantastic. They should like pull that clip and put it on their website kind of thing. Like, here for Reverend Brittany, this is why you should be a part. If anybody from your church is listening, like seriously, that's a brilliant answer right there. That's awesome. That's awesome. Like you've answered that question before or something. Uh, so are these ministries, are they all based in the church, or are some of them outside?
So
Like
they're all based in the church, but a lot of them are work with people outside of the church. And so, so for instance, for Elevation, a lot of us are in-house, but our drum line and drill team, they minister at parades, at sports games, things like that. Our Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts, they do a lot of work in the community. And so our missions and departments, we go out. Bible Zone is, I don't think I talked about Bible Zone, but Bible Zone is a really fun, interactive worship experience for kids ages 7 through 12. And they come and we just have a good time with them every fourth Sunday. They don't have to be in the sanctuary or in Sunday school. We have like a bouncy house. We have what we call different zones, sensory zones, where they can engage with God through music, art, games, just a lot of different things. And then we give them a lesson and we have a conversation with them. And you'd be so surprised how they just blow our socks off. I'm like, am I talking to an 8-year-old or an 80-year-old? Because sometimes they teach me this. But that is in-house. Outside of our Elevation community, we have our sanctification community, which is our mental health and wellness community, and a lot of work that happens through that, which is under the leadership of Reverend Leroy Miles. A lot of that work is outside work. And so that community is doing tremendous work in the physical and mental health fields, partnering with, hospitals and institutions. We have what's called men know your numbers and women know your numbers. And they broke for days where the entire church shuts down, and different hospitals and barbershops and hair salons come in, and they offer screenings for people who may not be able to access screenings. They offer a panel discussion, just different resources all surrounding health and wellness. And so a lot of work that happens in that community happens with organizations outside of the church, and bringing people from outside of the church into the church for different events and symposiums and things like that.
You guys are just like so community minded. I
Mhm.
mean, that the intention, again, that intentionality
Mhm.
of it. And also, I applaud you all for doing the mental health stuff, because that's tough.
Tough, yeah.
And to finding someone that is willing to serve
Yes.
there. I mean, yeah, God bless them, because like, yeah, I mentioned before, I've been a pastor in two churches, and it's a
Yeah.
tough thing to, you feel helpless,
Yeah.
um, you know, and it's so much greater than I was ever trained for,
Right.
kind of,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. And it we see, mental health crisis is rising. We saw it
yeah.
before COVID, but especially after the pandemic. People really are plagued and are suffering. And I think what I like to see about not just our church, but churches in general, destigmatizing what it means to have a mental health diagnosis. Because there was a lot of times where, we would maybe demonize it, and make people feel like they couldn't come to church, and express that, I'm depressed, or, I might hear voices that don't sound like Jesus Christ, right? And those types of things. Or, just today, this is a really bad day for me. I'm sorry, Bruce, getting really excited.
Don't
Um,
worry about it. That's what
this
we
is
do.
this has been a day for me, and so I love that the church is saying that, yes, we need Jesus, but we also need help and resources and assistance outside of that, and that Jesus provides those resources for us. Um, and so I just love that about the church overall. At Enon, and what it seems like across the kingdom, we're really being more mindful with catering to people's mental health, because, when someone comes to church and says, "Hey, I have cancer," we stop and we pray for them immediately. We don't question it. We don't say anything. But sometimes when people comes to church and they're like, "My mind is," we treat it like it's not a organ of the body. And so I'm really excited for that. And it's like being my undergrad degree. Like I really love that churches are, more intentional about, tending to the
Yeah,
mental health of their
y
congregants.
I agree. And for folks that are in the area, I will be sure that in the show notes that we put the church website up,
Yes.
and so if you're looking for a church home, this
Yes,
sounds like, I
come on,
mean,
come
like,
on. The doors
come
of the
on
church
over,
is
like, I mean, it doesn't matter who you are, like, I'm like, I'm kinda sad, like, that I don't live closer, because 'cause I'd be like, "Hey,
open.
think," I mean, it's just like you could feel like you could walk in the door and just be like, "Okay, just love me," and, like, they'd be
No.
like, "All right, welcome home," kinda thing. I mean, and and you just, like, radiate this joy.
Oh, thanks.
You just have this joy from you that, uh, that you can tell that you absolutely love what you do. And, it's beautiful to see that, that Jesus joy just, like, radiate from you, really.
Thank
I
you.
do wanna ask you, did I warn you about the joy question? I hope I did. If not,
You
ta-da.
probably did. I don't
Okay. I usually do, but maybe I, anyway, so the question is is, you think about all that you do, and the answer doesn't have to be Jesus. You can answer this question however, if it's your little doggy there, that's fine. So you think about everything, in your life, and what is something that brings you joy?
That's a great question. Something that
Everybody gets the same question at the end, and that's it.
Something that brings me joy. I really like laughing. And so anytime where I can laugh with someone, family, friends, just anyone, that laughter brings me a lot of joy. I'll just bust out laughing for no reason. And sometimes we might be in a serious situation and I shouldn't laugh. And people know, don't look at me because I might just laugh, right? I'm not the person you want to stand next to when something serious is happening. You shouldn't be laughing, because 9 times out of 10, I'm going to laugh. So being in spaces where, you could just be yourself and share a laugh with somebody, that brings me a lot of joy. Um, Non-spiritual side, I like shopping. I like shopping, and so when
We could
I'm
be best friends, like seriously.
right, pressing add to cart or
Right.
bringing something to register, that brings me a lot of joy.
I was gonna say, are you like an online shopper, or are you I need to go in person and like touch this
Yes.
kind of
So
like?
I like online shopping more, but I do enjoy going to the mall. I was just at the mall this week, and so I enjoy, just walking around the mall and just looking at stuff, even if I'm not buying it, just looking and picking up something I really enjoy. I'm a shopper, and so I really, really enjoy shopping.
Boscov's is like the best thing ever. I'm just gonna say. When I moved to Pennsylvania, there was none. There wasn't. Mm-mm. In the Midwest where I grew up, no, but Boscov's, beautiful thing. And folks, like, so here's yet another reason you should come to Space for Grace, because we're in King of Prussia. King of
Yes,
Prussia, if you weren't aware, folks, has this
absolutely.
giant mall.
And that's the mall I just was at twice. So
You can walk and walk and walk, and
absolutely.
you still won't get all the stores.
No.
Somebody said it has more retail shopping than Mall of America, is
Does it?
what I was told.
Oh, wow.
So, it has more retail shopping than Mall of America. So, if
It
you are
is.
serious about shopping,
Yeah,
come
it
to
is a large. It is a large. If you're a walker and you want to go for a walk, it's cold outside. You could get your miles in at KOP.
Yes, just come on over, come to Space for Grace. Maybe book the hotel for an extra day,
Right.
spend some time over there because you gotta hear Brittany and her mom. 'Cause I can't wait to meet your mom either. I wanna meet your mom.
Yeah, she's so amazing. I can't wait to do it so you can meet her. She's really amazing.
Yay! See? This is what happens, like, I make friends, and now we're friends, and, like, this isn't the last you'll, like,
Right. Absolutely, absolutely.
so welcome to the club.
Thank you.
Welcome to the Mystery Mondays with Meg Club, and, like I said, we'll put up your church info, and we totally do want people to come to Space for Grace
Yeah,
and hear what you have to share with
thank you.
everybody, and meet your mom too, because your mom's gotta be fabulous too. I
She's
mean,
amazing. Yeah, she and I'm not just saying that because she's my mom. She really is a great person.
right, shout out to Brittany's mom. What's your mom's name?
Sarlene Mingo.
You know? Darlene Mingo. You've done a great job with this kid, and, we love you already. So, um, yeah, this is what I do. This is why my podcasts go on forever, 'cause
You're,
yeah, anyway.
you're doing great. You're doing great.
So if you're looking for a church and you're in the Philly area, Enon is the place to be, and again, we'll put that in the show notes. Come to Space for Grace, meet Brittany. If we haven't met, come meet me. We'll be friends,
Yes.
And Brittany, I'm just grateful for you and for
Thank
your
you.
ministry
Thank you.
and for that church that just raised you up and sees those gifts in you and that you get to share the
Yes.
next generation and your heart, because it's just beautiful. And can't wait to like meet you and hug you.
I know. I can't wait to see you.
And for those who are listening, watching, we will see you next time.